Live from New Delhi, watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. India and China hold strategic dialogue in New Delhi, while Beijing backs a successful BRICS summit in India. The two sides also discuss issues ranging from border peace and people-to-people ties. US President to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington today. Talks to address Tehran's ballistic missiles. US issues general license to boost oil and gas exploration production in Venezuela. US administration says Venezuela's crude production could see an increase up to 20% in coming months. White House says Trump fully supports Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick even as he acknowledges lunch on Epstein's private island but denies any closure relationship with the convicted sex offender. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri held India-China strategic dialogue with China's counterpart, Executive Vice Foreign Minister Ma Zhaoshu on Tuesday in New Delhi. During the talks, the two sides exchanged views on a wide gamut of issues covering bilateral, regional and international affairs. Bilateral discussions primarily focused on the recent progress made in stabilizing and rebuilding bilateral ties and ways to take bilateral engagement forward. India and China underlined the importance of peace and tranquility in the border areas for overall progress in bilateral relations. They reiterated their commitment to implement the guidance provided by the leaders, including on the need to proceed from political and strategic direction to approach issues and concerns related to bilateral trade. During the dialogue, Foreign Secretary Misri noted the successful resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra and expressed hope for its continued expansion. Both sides also recognized the need to conclude an updated air services agreement at an early stage and agreed to continue taking practical steps to facilitate visa processing and promote people-to-people exchanges. The discussions also covered multilateral cooperation, including during India's BRICS chairmanship this year. The Chinese side expressed its support for a successful BRICS summit in India. The Executive Vice Foreign Minister also conveyed that China understands and respects India's aspirations for UNSC membership. Now, French President Emmanuel Macron will pay an official visit to India on 17th to 19th February 2026. Ministry of External Affairs said that Macron will be visiting India at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. During the visit, both leaders will hold discussions on strengthening bilateral cooperation across a wide spectrum of areas as enshrined in Horizon 2047 roadmap. In addition, the leaders will discuss regional and global issues of mutual interest, including cooperation in Indo-Pacific. The two leaders will also be in Mumbai to jointly inaugurate the India-France Year of Innovation, which will be celebrated throughout 2026 in both countries. On 19 February, President Macron will participate in the AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. And in a significant crackdown ahead of the India AI Impact Summit, India has brought in stricter rules for online platforms on handling AI-generated and synthetic content, including deepfakes. The rules make it mandatory for platforms such as X and Instagram to take down any such content flagged by a competent authority or courts within 3 hours. India has made major amendments to the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021 to curb fake and misleading content generated by AI on the internet and social media platforms. The new amendments will come into effect on February 20th. These changes significantly increase the responsibility of social media companies and other digital platforms regarding deepfakes and AI-generated content. And India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar attended the BRICS 2026 Sherpas and country representatives meeting in New Delhi on Tuesday, marking an important milestone as the grouping completes 20 years of its journey. Dr. Jaishankar joined other leaders at the first BRICS Sherpa meeting being held from 9th to 11th February in the capital. The gathering brought together representatives from BRICS nations to deliberate on the forum's future agenda and priorities. Speaking at the meeting, Dr. Jaishankar described BRICS as a valuable platform for international cooperation, consultation and coordination. He emphasized the grouping's people-centric agenda and its role in advancing shared priorities. The Supreme Court of India issued notices to 17 states on Tuesday to ensure the setting up of special NIA courts in states where 10 or more cases are pending trial under anti-terror laws. The top court sought responses from the states after the Union Home Ministry submitted a comprehensive status report. The court asked the chief secretaries of the 17 states to respond within 3 weeks to the report to formalize the setting up of the special courts to ensure speedy trial and justice in such cases. It said a delay in trial leads to injustice if an accused is acquitted after a prolonged trial. Now, on the India-US tariff reduction, Apparel Export Promotion Council Chairman Dr. Sakthivel said exporters in Tirupur district of Tamil Nadu have welcomed the move, calling it a positive step for the apparel export sector. Take a listen.
This will not only help the apparel exporters, this will help we always say fiber to fashion, it will help the farmers to the finishing product. So there will be job opportunity. And mainly, lady workers are involved in this. More than that, we have advantage with the other nations, especially Bangladesh, Cambodia, Vietnam. We honestly, wholeheartedly appreciate and thank Honorable Prime Minister of India and our hard work put up by Honorable Minister of Commerce, Mr. Piyush Goyal.
And as Bangladesh prepares for voting on February 12th, minority leaders and Islamic scholars have expressed support for the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, while concerns remain over violence and the election environment. A delegation from the Bangladesh Puja Ujjapan Parishad and the Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council met the BNP Election Management Committee on Tuesday night at its office in Dhaka. All the leaders from different Islamic groups called on voters to support BNP's election symbol, the sheaf of paddy. According to the Election Commission, 2,034 candidates are contesting the election. BNP has the highest number of candidates. Despite the heavy security presence, political violence has continued. Several people were injured in clashes between BNP and Jamaat activists in Bogura. With only a day left before voting, questions remain about how peaceful and fair the election be. All right, we'll go across to Dhaka. DD India's Naval Sangh Parmar joins us on the phone line. Naval Sangh, how is the atmosphere ahead of the elections and what are the main issues dominating voter conversations this time? Economic concerns are there, yes. Governance, political stability, law and order. These are primarily the main issues.
Silence period is going on in Bangladesh as campaigning ended yesterday morning 7:30 a.m. local time, and voting will be held on tomorrow from 7:30 a.m. So 48 hours are silence period, and as far as the security situation, law and order concerned in last 1 week, then it is by and large it is under control. There are some spot incidents of violence in some places, including you mentioned in Bogura, and there was a killing of a Hindu businessman in Singh day before yesterday. But still, comparison to previous months, the violence what Bangladesh witnessed, this phase of last 8-10 days witnessing a comparatively law and order in a better condition. But what will happen in next 2-3 days, that will be very crucial. And that is the main issue in Bangladesh election, safety and security of minority as well as the rights of women. Economic issues are there, unemployment, price rise, stability, corruption, political stability, these are there. But the main issue which are dominating is the safety and security of the vulnerable section, particularly the minority and women's. And as some political parties, fundamentalist political parties, have made a public statement regarding the restriction will be imposed on women if they come to power. So these are the issues. And before a week, there was a indecisive phase among the large chunk of voter of Awami League. They were not inclined either side, and whom they vote, there was no clear indication. But last 3-4 days, there are some development in this regards that on many districts, Awami League leaders and activists are in group joining the BNP, and it shows that the minority and Awami League voter are shifting toward the BNP, and many of them publicly express that they support Bangbandhu and independent Bangladesh, but they are supporting BNP because they want safety, security, and they are choosing best of the left out option, because Awami League is not contesting, so they don't have any other option rather than either they stay away from voting or they vote for BNP, because for them Jamaat-e-Islami is a fundamentalist Islamist party. They don't have much expectation from the Jamaat-e-Islami. So the minorities and Awami votes are shifting towards the BNP. That is the trend in last 2-3 days witnessed in Bangladesh.
Yes, very crucial elections happening after a long time. Tomorrow is the D-Day. Elections will happen in Bangladesh. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for inputs, Naval Singh. Moving on, 12 people were killed and 8 others, including the driver, were injured after a bus fell into the Tamakoshi River in Nepal's Rameshep district on Tuesday morning. The Araniko transport bus travelling from Kathmandu to Okhaldunga veered off the road and plunged nearly 100 meters at Masantar in Manthali municipality. 10 of the deceased, have been identified. The injured are being treated at Jeevan Hospital, Manthali Hospital and Tamakoshi Hospital. The driver has been taken into custody and search operations for remaining passengers are underway. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Starmer shrugs off Epstein scandal, says he'll lead Labour into next election despite mounting pressure. US-Azerbaijan signs strategic partnership pact as Washington deepens South Caucasus ties. Bulgarian Orthodox Christians mark Saint Haralampi Day with honey blessings and beekeeping traditions.
On defense dynamics, India fires a message the world can't ignore. Agni 3, the strategic signaling to China and Pakistan. Why AMCA, India's 6th generation fighter, must be built by private players. Winning the low sky inside the Indian Army's radar reset. As middle powers rise, the arms market becomes a battlefield. And in my take, Pakistan's collapse and shock ahead. For all this and much more, tune in this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. US President will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington on Wednesday. This will be the 7th meeting between Trump and Netanyahu since the US President returned to office last year. They also met in Jerusalem in October last year when Trump announced a ceasefire in Gaza. Wednesday's meeting comes days after Iran and the United States held talks in Oman, after which Trump said another round of negotiations would follow. The discussion is also expected to focus on energy issues and deregulation.
Tomorrow here at the White House, the president will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a bilateral meeting. The remainder of the week will be focused on energy and deregulation.
The United States on Tuesday moved to further relax restrictions on Venezuela's oil sector, expanding efforts to let American companies resume operations after state controls were lifted. The U.S. Treasury Department issued a license permitting certain transactions with Venezuela's government and state-run oil company PDVSA to supply goods, technology and software for oil and gas exploration and production. Additional licenses authorize specific dealings required for port and airport operations and allow limited activities involving Venezuelan origin crude. Washington has supported the government of interim President Delcy Rodriguez in exchange for access to vast oil reserves. Now, the United States has reiterated that the Caribbean will not be a safe space for illicit or sanctioned activities, saying its joint military forces remain ready to act decisively against violations in the region. U.S. military forces deployed under the Southcom Command are supporting Operation Southern Spear, aimed at countering illegal activities and enforcing sanctions in the Caribbean. The Department of War said its forces have previously intercepted and apprehended vessels violating sanctions and remain prepared to do so again. The operation is being carried out in coordination with the Department of Homeland Security, the State Department and the Justice Department, aligning with the U.S. President's priority of Homeland Security. And facing growing calls for his resignation, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick admitted to having lunch on Jeffrey Epstein's private island in 2012, but strenuously denied any closer relationship with the convicted sex offender. Lutnick's ties to Epstein have come under intense scrutiny after email exchanges included in newly released files undermined his earlier insistence that he had cut all links with the late financier back in 2005. But records have emerged showing Lutnick's plans in 2012 to meet Epstein for lunch in Little St. James, notoriously known as Epstein Island. Asked if he saw anything untoward, Lutnick maintained that besides his family and that of another couple who were present, he only saw staff who worked for Epstein on the island.
I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York, right? And I met him then. Over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall. 2 times. And that is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him. And then a year and a half after that, I met him, and never again. Probably the total, and you've seen all of these documents, of these millions and millions of documents, there may be 10 emails connecting me with him, probably about 10 emails connecting me with him over a 14-year period. I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person.
So far, President Donald Trump's administration has stood by Lutnick, with White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying the president fully supports him.
No, Secretary Lutnick remains a very important member of President Trump's team, and the president fully supports the secretary.
A day after fending off calls to resign over the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer tells reporters that he will lead his governing Labour Party into the next election. Under pressure over his appointment of Peter Mandelson as ambassador to Washington because of the Labour veteran's close ties to late Jeffrey Epstein, Starmer came out fighting, urging his party to fight the real enemy, the populist Reform UK party, rather than among themselves. He used a visit to Community Centre in southern England to try to show that his political career was anything but dead, a day after the biggest challenge to his authority when Scottish leader Anna Sarwar called on him to quit, and he lost a second aide in as many days.
Well, what's happened over the last few days is that we've pulled together as a party and been absolutely crystal clear about the fight we need to have. And that's the fight on behalf of all the people in this country who don't get the respect, the dignity and the chance that they deserve in life. That is the fight that we are in. That's who we're fighting for. I'm their Prime Minister, and this is their government.
Now, Democrats in the U.S. Congress pressed President Donald Trump's top immigration officials over the Republican president's crackdown, the first such hearing since 2 U.S. citizens were killed in Minnesota amid mounting opposition to Trump's mass deportation push. Democrats sharply criticized immigration enforcement leaders after federal officers killed Renee Good and Alex Petty in Minneapolis, challenging officials over masked agents' lack of body cameras and aggressive tactics. Democrats say ICE must be reformed and have demanded they remove masks, wear body cameras and prioritize enforcement to focus on criminal offenders. The top Democrat on the committee, Benny Thompson, also criticized the Trump administration's aggressive enforcement in U.S. cities and reiterated a call for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to resign. Meanwhile, the three Trump officials in opening remarks defended the president's immigration agenda, highlighting threats to ICE officers, increasing border security under Trump, and more intense vetting of legal immigrants. Now, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke to Donald Trump on Tuesday in a bid to resolve a row sparked by U.S. President's threats to block a new bridge between the two countries. The disagreement arose after Trump suggested the United States should own at least half of the Gordie Howe International Bridge currently being built between Ontario and Michigan. Canada financed the project, and that ownership is jointly held by the Canadian government and the state of Michigan. Construction of the $4.7 billion bridge began in 2018 and it is expected to open this year. Named after hockey legend Gordie Howe, the bridge was intended as a symbol of bilateral unity despite Trump's recent threats. Now, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that President Donald Trump made it clear during his call with Prime Minister Mark Carney that it is unacceptable for Canada to control traffic over the new Detroit-Windsor Bridge. She added that Trump believes the United States should own at least half of the Gordie Howe International Bridge and share authority over crossings.
To reiterate, the fact that Canada will control what crosses the Gordie Howe Bridge and owns the land on both sides is unacceptable to the president. It's also unacceptable that more of this bridge isn't being built with more American-made materials, even more so than what President Barack Obama committed to with the Canadians at the time, at the start of the project. He also believes that the U.S. should own at least half of the bridge, have shared authority over what passes across it, and participate in the economic benefits generated by its use. This is just another example of President Trump putting America's interests first, and so he made that very clear in his call with Prime Minister Carney earlier today.
At least 3 people were killed and 6 others injured after a pipeline owned by Mexico's state-run oil company Pemex exploded in Oaxaca state. The explosion took place in the isthmus of Tehuantepec region of Oaxaca on Tuesday, according to Governor Salomon Jara. Security forces, including army and police personnel, were deployed to the site soon after the blast. Emergency response teams also reached the spot to carry out rescue and relief operations. Pemex has not issued an official statement on the incident so far. Now, updates from Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russian strikes continue to hit energy infrastructure and residential areas in Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Kyiv is repairing air defense systems. Over 95,000 people in southern Odessa region were left without power. Residents have been urged to limit electricity use as temperatures fall. The United States and Azerbaijan signed a strategic partnership agreement in Baku, launching a fresh chapter in economic and security cooperation as Washington seeks to expand its influence in the South Caucasus. Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev inked the agreement with the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, who is on a trip to Baku after visiting its neighbor and longtime foe Armenia. The charter was first presented at talks between Aliyev and President Donald Trump at a meeting in the White House in August, where the Azerbaijani leader reached a peace agreement with Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan to end decades of war. Vance's visit comes just 6 months after the Armenian and Azerbaijani leaders signed an agreement at the White House, seen as a first step towards peace after nearly 40 years of war. Moving on, Zimbabwe's cabinet on Tuesday approved draft legislation proposing constitutional amendments that would extend presidential terms from 5 to 7 years, potentially enabling President Emmerson Mnangagwa to remain in power until 2030. The bill also suggests that future presidents be chosen by Parliament instead of through direct elections. Justice Minister Ziyambi said the draft will be forwarded to the Speaker of Parliament and published in the official gazette before debate by lawmakers. Mnangagwa is due to leave office in 2028 after completing 2 5-year terms amid internal succession tensions with the ruling ZANU-PF party. He assumed power following the 2017 military removal of Robert Mugabe. Opposition figures have criticized the proposed reforms as destabilizing and vowed legal and diplomatic efforts to challenge them. A student died during protest over unpaid financial aid at Senegal's top university in Dhaka as weeks of unrest over delayed stipends escalated into clashes with security forces. The government said the circumstances surrounding the death of Abdullah Ba, a second-year dental surgery student, remain under investigation. Protests in Senegal reflect public frustration as the government faces a $13 billion deficit and a hidden debt crisis since taking office in April 2024. Now, anti-government protesters clashed with police in Albania's capital Tirana on Tuesday as thousands gathered to demand the resignation of the Deputy Prime Minister over alleged corruption. The protests threatening Prime Minister Edi Rama's rule since 2013 have intensified following the December indictment of his deputy Belinda Baluku over alleged public tender interference, which she denies. The Special Prosecution Office has requested the Parliament to lift Baluku's immunity to enable her arrest, but the vote's timing remains uncertain. Now, Israeli President Isaac Herzog joined members of Sydney's Jewish community at a synagogue on Tuesday. The Israeli president, along with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, attended the Shabbat Bondi synagogue on Tuesday night to honour the 15 victims killed in a terrorist attack at the iconic beach in December last year. Addressing the synagogue, Herzog called the December attack a blood-curdling act of blind hatred and urged remembrance of those who lost their lives. Now, Argentina's monthly inflation rate was 2.9% in January, a tick up from 2.8% registered in December. In 12 months through the first month of the year, prices rose 32.4%, edging above the previous month's rate of 31.5%. The data comes amid mounting criticism of President Javier Milei for failing to bring monthly inflation below 2%. He is also under fire for delaying a new consumer price index methodology that could result in higher reported inflation. The government denies the charge, arguing that the new methodology will be introduced once disinflation has consolidated. Now, residents in northern Colombia navigated the aftermath of devastating floods as many scrambled to salvage belongings from submerged homes using canoes and makeshift boats on Tuesday. The flooding, which left more than 50,000 families displaced across 27 municipalities of Cordoba, has led to widespread destruction and mounting frustration among affected communities. As per the local authorities, water levels have started to recede by 10 to 15 centimeters in some areas of Monteria over the past 24 hours. Efforts to distribute aid were underway. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. In Bulgaria, Orthodox Christians marked the feast of Saint Haralambie on Tuesday, a day traditionally linked to blessings for bees, honey and beekeepers. Worshippers gathered for Mass, bringing jars of honey to be blessed, reflecting the belief that Saint Haralambie was healed with honey during persecution in the 3rd century. The annual observance honors faith, healing and the protection of beekeeping traditions. Now, inside a metal foundry in England, workers are crafting BAFTA's iconic mast-shaped awards by pouring molten phosphor bronze into custom sand molds. The trophies will be presented across more than 20 film categories, which Leonardo DiCaprio and Timothée Chalamet among this year's nominees. Acute malnutrition has reached famine levels in parts of Sudan's North Darfur amid the ongoing civil war and mass displacement. Food security monitors report a sharp rise in hunger with nearly 4.2 million cases of acute malnutrition recorded, highlighting the worsening humanitarian crisis. And over 94 million people worldwide suffer from cataracts, with nearly half unable to access surgery. Cataracts, a leading cause of blindness, are increasing due to aging population. Despite being a quick and effective procedure, access remains limited, especially in African regions, with women facing lower access to treatment globally. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Devnimori Buddha relics return to India after landmark public exposition in Sri Lanka. Visible signs of excitement across Colombo as fans from both sides get up for India versus Pakistan game in T20 World Cup.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. The sacred Devnimori relics of Lord Buddha are returning to India today after a week-long public exposition in Colombo. The holy Devnimori relics displayed abroad for the first time were exhibited at the Gangaramaya temple in Colombo for 7 days. Devotees from across Sri Lanka visited the temple in large numbers to pay homage, making it a significant cultural event. The exposition was inaugurated by Sri Lankan President, with leaders describing it as a blessing for the nation and expressing gratitude to India. The event reinforced long-standing spiritual ties between India and Sri Lanka.
In Sri Lanka, it's a very religious people are living, no? In those people giving such opportunity, no? We are happy. As India and Sri Lankan government is happy, and being a monk, being in charge of this temple, I'm really happy. Without any complaining of anyone, we finish our work.
And cricket fans in Colombo have welcomed Pakistan's decision to withdraw its boycott and confirm that it will play India in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup match scheduled for February 15. Fans have expressed delight with the announcement after days of uncertainty over the high-profile clash. Many say India-Pakistan encounter is biggest attraction of the tournament and brings unmatched energy to the stands. Fans had booked the tickets for the marquee fixture long time ago and were hoping that the game would happen. Sri Lanka Cricket had also mentioned the logistic arrangements, including sale of tickets, in their letter to Pakistan. The Pakistan government announced on Tuesday that it would reverse its earlier stand and allow the team to take the field. Colombo is gearing up for a packed stadium and a festival-like atmosphere around the marquee fixture.
The India-Pakistan game is happening on February 15th in Premadasa Stadium in Colombo. And as a true cricket fan, I couldn't be happier because there is no doubt that it is the biggest cricket game in the world. But equally, as an Indian living in Sri Lanka, it's extremely exciting because I get to watch the game here in Colombo. Many Sri Lankan fans are equally excited, people who love the game. But equally, the tourist industry is excited because of the buzz it creates. There is no equivalence to the intensity and the excitement of an India-Pakistan game, and I truly welcome the fact that this game is on.
Indian-Pakistan match will go ahead on the 15th of Feb at the Prasar Stadium here in Colombo. I think the Indian fans love affair with this fantastic game. And I think we're all really excited to watch this game, and I'm sure the men in blue will really walk out with a lot of tempo on the 15th.
All right, let's go across to Colombo. DD India's Dr. Ahmed Moin Faruqi joins us from there. Dr. Faruqi, what kind of buzz is there in Colombo as fans from both sides get up for the big game? Are there visible signs of excitement across the city? And people must have started coming in from both the countries.
Abhishek, I must tell you, whenever India and Pakistan clash, it is the clash of the titans. The entire world looks at it. In fact, as some of our fans have already said, that this is the most important games in the entire world cricket. So when there is World Cup happening, when India and Pakistan are clashing, then the entire world will definitely come forward. And that is what's happening. People, not just from Sri Lanka, not just from India, from the entire world have flocked to Sri Lanka for this marquee fixture on 15th of February. In fact, when there were reports that Pakistan would boycott this game and not take field on 15th of February, people were very disappointed. The fans had expressed their disappointment. Many had cancelled their travel plans. Many had cancelled their hotel bookings in Sri Lanka. And this is what even Sri Lanka Cricket had mentioned in their letter to the Pakistan Cricket Board, saying that there have been several logistic arrangements that have been put in place, and boycotting the game at this juncture would lead to huge losses for the Sri Lanka cricket as well as the international cricket. Now, that said, fans have been looking forward to this game because, you see, they hardly get an opportunity to see these two class sides battle it out. And this is an opportunity for them to see them in action, in flesh, right in front of their eyes. And this is something which has been an important game for the fans as well as for the both countries. Abhishek.
Also, Dr. Faruqi, given the history and rivalry, how significant you think is this match for the overall momentum of the T20 World Cup?
Abhishek, this game, many have actually said that this is a final before the finals, considering that both sides have been in impeccable form. Pakistan has played perhaps the highest number of T20 games over the last 1 year as compared to any other side. And India has been in superb form with the top order clicking, the middle order. In fact, there's a race in the middle order as to who would actually fit into their positions. And the bowling, considering that Indian bowling has done well in terms of pace as well as the spin. So it's just a matter of time to see how both these teams will fare against each other, considering that their form has been superb in the recent times. And going forward, they will take forward this momentum because they are the primary two contenders for the Super 8 slots from their team, from their group. So they will actually set the momentum going forward in Super 8s and thereafter in the further stages of the World Cup. Abhishek.
Yes, big game between India and Pakistan will be played on Sunday, that is 15th February. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for inputs, Dr. Faruqi. Let's now take a look at today's action-packed group stage matches at the Men's T20 World Cup, with only 2 teams slated to make the Super 8 from each group. Afghanistan find themselves in a must-win situation. South Africa are perched at the top after their 57-run victory over Canada, which bolstered their net run rate. On the other hand, a 5-wicket defeat to New Zealand saw Afghanistan slip to third with a negative net run rate, which they would have to improve in order to advance to the next round. Meanwhile, injury-hit Australia begin their World Cup campaign against Ireland. While Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood were already ruled out, Tim David is also set to miss the opening game as he continues to rehab his hamstring injury. Australia are also struggling for form, having been hammered by Pakistan 3-0 just before the start of the T20 showpiece. Ireland will also look to bounce back from their loss against Sri Lanka and keep their Super 8 hopes alive. And England will take on West Indies in an evenly matched and crucial Group C clash of the World Cup in Mumbai. England survived a low-ranked Nepal, who came agonizingly close to upsetting them in their opening encounter. Both the teams have won the competition twice in the past and are chasing a third title win like the defending champions India. And in shooting, India's gold tally reached to 39 at the Asian Championship for rifle and pistol in New Delhi. Prachi Gaikwad clinched the gold medal in the junior women's 50-meter rifle three-position final with a score of 353.3 points. Kazakhstan's Tomiris Amanova won silver, while India's Anushka Thokur secured bronze with a score of 341.1 points after 34 shots. Akriti Daya won the silver medal in 50-meter rifle, while Olympian Anjum Modgil bagged bronze. Sofia of Kazakhstan finished at the top of the podium with a new world record score of 358.2. The accumulated total score of the shooters ensured India won the women's team silver. Let's now shift our focus to artificial intelligence. The Road to AI Impact Summit 2026, a two-day event, opened at Symbiosis International University, Dubai, ahead of the main AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. The summit brought together policymakers, academics and industry leaders to discuss the purpose-driven use of artificial intelligence and its societal impact. Ambassador of India to the UAE, Dr. Deepak Mittal, stressed that AI is being co-authored not only in laboratories of the global north, but also in classrooms, startups and communities across the global south.
It is the AI, if I may say, is being co-authored in the classrooms, in the startups and the communities of the global south. I think that's what the AI Impact Summit represents when it is being held next week. There's a purpose of this summit, and that purpose is how AI can become, how we can work together to ensure that AI becomes a force for collective good.
And at a time when AI is expected to take over 40% jobs globally, the government of India is taking various initiatives to expand the AI ecosystem and connect the AI opportunities to the youth. We have a report.
Usage of artificial intelligence-based applications is growing at a rapid pace around the world. AI skills are among the fastest growing skills, which means that there's an opportunity for many industries to invest more heavily in their AI capabilities. The growing knowledge of AI skills in the workforce is impacting different industries and job functions globally. Therefore, finding or keeping a job will require skill upgradation or learn new ones. According to the IMF, nearly 40% of global jobs are exposed to AI-driven change. Over 60% of jobs may be impacted by the AI in advanced economies, whereas AI exposure is expected to be 40% in emerging markets. The figure is expected to be around 26% in low-income countries. Professionals, particularly in the IT sector, are seeing the most demand for new skills. Trends also suggest that employers pay more for workers who acquire emerging skills. India too faces the challenges of artificial intelligence integration and its impact on job creation. The government of India considers AI to be a kinetic enabler for the growth of the country's digital economy, investments and jobs. India's artificial intelligence strategy aims to address India-centric challenges and create opportunities and jobs in AI. As per the Standard AI Index Report 2025, India has secured the third position globally in artificial intelligence competitiveness. India leads the world in AI talent acquisition with an annual hiring rate of about 33%. India's AI talent base is expected to more than double by 2027 with a compound annual growth rate of around 15%. The country has seen the AI talent concentration grow more than threefold since 2016.
AI right now, there is a lot of sometimes fear around job loss. There's a lot of investment that has gone into it, which people are looking for returns on investment. It is our job as technologists to ensure that that magic translates to value for the common man.
Despite the opportunities, uncertainty persists regarding the types of jobs AI will create, their long-term sustainability, and the skills they will demand. Preparing the workforce to navigate these transformations is no longer optional. It has become an imperative for governments, industries, and educational institutions alike. Bureau Report, DD India.
And coming up next is a special interaction with PJ Narayanan, former Director, International Institute of Information Technology, IIT Hyderabad, ahead of the India AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. From cutting-edge AI explorations to solutions designed for everyday impact in India, IIT Hyderabad is translating data-driven technologies to viable products and solutions to local problems. The aim is to provide AI solutions for the world. Take a look.
Welcome to DD India. New Delhi is set to host one of the biggest AI summit in the global south from 16th to 20th of February. We all know artificial intelligence, AI, stands at the threshold of fundamentally reshaping human civilization, pushing the boundaries of what we can achieve through AI. And to help us understand all that, we have with us PJ Narayanan, Professor at the International Institute of Information Technology, Hyderabad. And he's also been the former Director of the Institute from 2013 to 2025. Narayanan ji is known for his work in computer vision, computer graphics, and parallel computing on the GPU. Welcome, sir, to DD India, and thank you for speaking to us. Well, India's AI Impact Summit has received a phenomenal response in terms of the registrations from across the world. Could you please tell us, perhaps in some more detail, about the principal objective of this summit?
Yes, thank you, Tanvi, for inviting me to this. Yes, artificial intelligence is the talk of the town and it's really transformed the world in the last several years, in particular last 3 years after the ChatGPT kind of tool started becoming so popular and everybody using it. Now, suddenly everybody knows AI, everybody uses AI. So these AI summits have been going on for a few years. The first one was held in 2023 November in London. That was called AI Safety Summit. They talked about how to keep AI safety. The next big one was held, there was one held in 2024 in Seoul, South Korea. And then a third one was held in Paris about a year ago. That was on AI Action Summit, how to get AI into action. And India is proud to host the third or fourth in that series of AI summits. And we have selected AI Impact as the theme. And because AI is now there everywhere and we wanted to make positive impact on the society. And especially in India, that's very, very important because there are so many things AI can transform in the Indian society to make us more efficient and more economical in many of the things that we do. That's why so much interest. And naturally, India is a major player in AI. In the Stanford AI Index, India was ranked number 3 behind USA and China in many aspects of AI innovation, AI manpower, skilling, and so on. So world is looking up to India to provide a lot of AI solutions, not just be a market for AI solutions. So that's why there is so much interest in this summit, and I hear there are a lot of registrations, including lots of heads of state and others coming to this summit.
You've been associated with the International Institute of Information Technology, IIT Hyderabad, for over a decade as its director. What areas of AI are the IITs particularly focused on and why?
That's a very good question. IIT has been a major player in the AI academic circles in the country. We chose a path of very high research combined with high-end teaching in the institute. And one of the first areas of research that we opened was in natural language processing, which is what is all the ChatGPTs and Geminis do today at the core. So we have several research groups which are the topmost groups in the country in areas like natural language processing, machine translation, computer vision, robotics, data analytics, etc. And we are also the most productive academic group in the country in AI, ranked very high in the AI ranking across the world. we focus on these areas, academic areas that I mentioned, like natural language processing, machine translation, speech processing, computer vision, etc. But in the last few years, we have also been focusing on how our expertise, our strength in AI can be used for real solution to real problems in the society. So this is typically called translational research, or sometimes called research translation. So we have a couple of centers in the institute now which focus on research translation. Some of the solutions we developed, IIIT and I have developed together, has been deployed in, say, Nagpur city for road safety to reduce traffic accidents. In Telangana highways to, again, similarly, we monitor the roads, the drivers and the driving, and see how the situation can be improved, how proactive engagements can be made to reduce accident. Similarly, in healthcare, we work with several hospitals especially in Hyderabad, on working on solutions that really benefit the people. So this has been a focus area, because I think any technology should touch the society deeply. Only then they become worthy of really promoting. So AI has now come a long way. It is in a state where it can address several problems in India or anywhere in the world, especially the resource poor countries like India or the global south. So that's been a major focus in the last few years for us.
What could you tell us about the kind of support the government of India is giving in the field of AI, and what more perhaps could be done?
Yeah, government of India has been very proactive in supporting AI. The AI mission started recently and has been supporting different activities. Even before that, the mission on national mission on ICPS has AI as a core component in it, and many of our hubs, including our own, works on data analytics or AI or natural language processing, etc., on related areas. And so research funding, academic research funding or translational research funding has been very forthcoming from the government of India through multiple agencies, DST, MIT and other agencies out there. India AI mission has also been providing compute support. So in AI today, unfortunately, AI is a very expensive field today, because you need extremely high-end computational machines, including the GPU servers, which are very, very expensive in any academic institution in the world, not just the Indian ones. Even the best of the academic institutions in the world are far short of computing resources that they need, compared to the big companies that are promoting AI today, such as Google or Meta or OpenAI or Microsoft. So compute access is a very critical enabling element. They say data is the new oil in the AI era. Everything depends on data. If data is the new oil, I would like to say compute is the fire that extracts the energy out of the oil. And India AI has been contracting GPUs from multiple regular compute vendors in the country, and today, the last count I heard, 30,000 GPUs are available for the India AI missions. The way they do it is they give a highly subsidized rate for startups, research groups and academia, so that they can do their work.
All right. Sir, what are the primary challenges and also the opportunities for India in the field of AI?
Yeah, that's a very good question. One of the major opportunities in AI in India comes from our population. We are now the largest, the most populous country in the world. And that means we have people, not just for AI skilling, AI skilled people to develop the future AI, but also people who generate all kinds of data. You may know today that the big companies, the OpenAI and the Google, the ChatGPT, Gemini kind of tool, they have virtually run out of new data that they can use to train and improve their system. The challenges also is that the resource. First, I mentioned about hardware resource, which is something that can be overcome, but data is also a resource that is not abundantly available in India.
Okay. Lastly, sir, where do you see India in the field of AI, especially as regards its practical application, say 5 or 10 years down the line?
Yeah, I think India has to be a major player in this AI game. Last week, I was in a meeting conducted meeting along with the CEOs of many Indian companies and some academics, with the Prime Minister, the Minister of IT, the Secretary of IT, and so on. And there were many points were discussed in that. One of the points that the Prime Minister mentioned is that India did very well in exploiting the IT manpower to be a software development powerhouse back in 90s, whenever the IT revolution started. In AI, you can do even better. In software, we were still a service provider. Only in the last few years, we have been seeing software products developed from here or startups coming out of here. In AI, we should definitely not be just the background developers or just the market for the other companies. We should be the service provider, the providers of solution, AI solution that is taken to the world. In fact, the Prime Minister, what he said is, we should take India to the world through AI, because some of these AI tools can take India to the world, and that should be our focus. And he appealed to the IT industry present there to make it a priority to ensure we remain dominant in the AI area. And there are a lot of countries in what is called the global south, the not so resource heavy countries. They are all looking up to India for not just to providing solutions, but also the leadership in this space. And I think this is an opportunity that we should grab very strongly.
Okay. One hopes that India AI Impact Summit 2026 brings together all stakeholders from 30+ countries to bring responsible intelligence at the forefront of discussions. Thank you very much, PJ Narayanan ji, for taking out the time for us and giving us your insights and analysis on the future development of AI in our country. Thank you for being with us on DD India.
Thank you, Taneja, for inviting me. Bye.
Thank you, sir.